In 1984, after a series of box office failures and an attempted hostile takeover, the Disney company was saved from near extinction, saw a revitalization of their status as a film studio, and received a new chief executive officer, Michael Eisner. Eisner's time as CEO spanned more than 20 years, including the start of the Disney Renaissance, the openings of Disney's MGM Studios and the Animal Kingdom theme parks, and the release of some smash hits such as The Little Mermaid. Following these successes, however, were several financial failures like Disneyland Paris and the declining quality of Disney's animation department due to an over-reliance on direct-to-DVD movie sequels. Listen, The Little Mermaid 2 is a good movie, and I will die on that hill. Eisner's time as CEO concluded with a rather tumultuous and complicated legacy, and from the 90s onward, that legacy seemed to be one of strained relationships with other members of the team, which resulted in them quitting and starting entirely new studios. So I guess we have, in a way, Michael Eisner to thank for Shrek. In Steve Jobs' case, he vowed never to work with Disney again. The final straw came when chairman of the board, Roy E. Disney, nephew of Walt Disney, hosted a coup that led to the firing of Michael Eisner and the instating of new CEO Bob Iger in 2004. Michael Eisner left the Disney company not with a sizzle but with a bang, stating, "I know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to Disneyland." Michael Eisner's complicated legacy is one of shining stars, sleazy Hollywood execs, cunning trickery, and a tragic but well-predicted fall from grace after the consequences of poor choices finally caught up to him. Which is why it's completely unsurprising that he went on to produce Bojack Horseman. Bojack Horseman is a 2014 TV series following the titular character Bojack Horseman, voiced by Will Arnett, as he goes through life after reaching early success in the 90s, starring in a very famous TV show, Horsin' Around. Bojack Horseman is filled with deep discussions of mental illness, depression, drug addiction and abuse, and toxic relationships or friendships. It also looks deeply into horrible characters and contextualizes their reasons for making heinous choices. Through its well-balanced cast, it often walks the very fragile line of explaining the character's behavior without ever excusing it, and discussing that while mental illness can cause a person to behave badly, it doesn't give them a license to hurt someone else. Bojack tackles a lot as a show, but one thing I was surprised that they never touched on was the topic of neurodivergence, especially since... That's right, we're doing shots again, baby! It's time for another Are They Autistic Coded? You may be asking yourself, is she really theorizing that Bojack Horseman is autistic?
Why do they always use the sneezing picture?
And also, is it appropriate to use alcohol to do that? Considering Bojack is the worst character in the show, I would say that the answer to both of those questions is no, which is why it's a great thing that Bojack is not the character we're going to be talking about in this episode. No, we're actually discussing an entirely different character, the one, the only, Judah Mannodawg. Judah Mannodawg starts the show as Princess Carolyn's assistant in season 3, and they eventually become so close to each other that they marry in the season 6 series finale. His presence in the show is soft and understated, but it can never be undervalued. Though he begins as just Princess Carolyn's assistant, it's clear from the beginning that he cares about her and everyone in her life, and it's also clear that he's far different than anyone else in the show. He speaks with a different tone, is never superfluous in language or writing, and he has such a distinct manner of being that it's led some people to wonder, is Judah Mannodawg autistic? Well, that's what I'm here to answer, or at least my liver will. But before we get into it, first things first, are you subscribed? Apparently, most of you aren't subscribed to the channel, and aside from autism coding and general trauma, the lack of subscribers gives me one more reason to drink. Subscribe. Save my liver. Secondly, for once, this character doesn't have any other known mental health conditions. He's never spoken about trauma, and he's never mentioned a mental illness. He's just Judah. So, for every autistic thing that he does that matches autism diagnostic criteria, I will take one shot out of this glass. Yes, I take my shots out of a shark. Be jealous. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first and most obvious sign of autism is the fact that Judah speaks in a very even and monotone voice. He doesn't have a lot of vocal inflections, which sets him apart from the other characters in the show who all have changing inflections and vocal patterns. Judah also has a rhythmic speaking pattern, which is another part of autistic speech patterns. Communication being a challenge is a well-documented diagnostic criteria for autism, especially in early childhood. Speaking in a monotone or with a rhythmic pattern can make social interactions difficult, particularly when people comment that we speak weird or robotic.
Wow. Okay. You know what? First of all, wow. All right. I can't even.
That, my friends, is a valid diagnostic criteria. And also worth one shot. Oh, I miss the days when I don't have tequila face. Wow, this goes so much faster when I don't have to worry about contextualizing it with another disorder. Early in his time working for Princess Carolyn, Judah makes the mistake of getting her 3 dates in one night, all because he misunderstood her sarcasm when she said that that was what she wanted him to do. As if that weren't proof enough of him taking things literally, he even follows it up by saying,
"Especially since you have all those lawyers coming next week to change the light bulbs. Okay, I just realized now that was also a joke."
This is another part of atypical speech patterns found within autistic people and a form of black and white thinking patterns. Autistic brains don't process information the same way as non-autistic ones. Instead, autistic people tend to take things at face value, struggling with non-literal speech or metaphors and idioms. We can learn to understand these things, but it takes a lot of trial and error, and oftentimes we need people to just flat out tell us that something is a joke, sarcasm, or a metaphor, which Princess Carolyn does whenever Judah needs it. That is another diagnostic criteria worth one shot. Oh, it burns. It burns. Okay, I'm 2 shots in, so I should probably give you a word from our sponsors. This week's word from our sponsors is once again, fork. I don't know why our sponsors like the word fork, but that's once again it. And it's also time for a meme break. ADHD people, when they're talking about something they're passionate about. No, I can't stop yelling. This is how I talk. Okay, but in their defense, that's also an autism trait. So, me trying to flirt sometimes, I know you see raccoons here. No, that really is me trying to flirt because I cannot flirt to save my life. Like, I'm trying to flirt with this guy lately. It's not working. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not working because I'm bad at flirting. Soulmates, but with the British meaning of mate, 2 homies bound by a platonic string of Tate. Yeah, Andrew Tate. 2 homies bound together by a platonic string of fate. And it's the Doctor and Donna. Donna Noble is the best. She's the best companion, and I will die on that hill. And now, a commercial for our sponsors. It's the new year, so why not start the new year off by joining our team? We just hired a new scriptwriter and she did not come cheap. But damn is she cute. And she's asking us for more money. Kiyoshi, I cannot give you another raise until we have more members of our Patreon. Hey, what are you chewing? That is what she does when we don't have more members of the Patreon. I cannot give you a raise, ma'am. I cannot afford it without new members. Okay, maybe because you're so cute. Maybe because you're so cute, I can go without food for a week.
It's so worth it to pay your salary.
And now, back to the video, and goodbye to my liver. Judah will often get so focused on work that he'll put aside his emotional or physical needs, not because he chooses to, but because he's hyperfixated on something. If he has a task to do, that task will be done at all costs. He doesn't have any concept of time passing, nor does he seem to care all that much when he finds out that he does. The only thing he cares about is whatever his task is, just like when I work on a script for 5 minutes only to find out that 5 minutes has lasted all day and I've completely neglected all of my needs because my body forgot to tell me that I'm hungry. Once again, that is worth a mother sharking shot. Mama didn't raise no bitch. Judah looks at everything for the most logical solution. He's always able to come up with ideas and strategies because he's always thinking about what would be the most precise and accurate thing to do. He also corrects other people's logic in a polite way to ensure that everyone achieves the best possible outcome. This tends to result in him having very black and white thinking, and is something that he himself acknowledges in a song that he writes for Princess Carolyn. I'm not crying, you're crying. I'm taking a shot because logical and black and white thinking are diagnostic criteria for autism, baby. Okay, now I am actually crying. Throughout the entire show, Judah rarely makes a different expression than the rather blank one on his face. Autistic people often struggle with making facial expressions and recognizing them due to our difficulties in social cognition. This is actually one of the core identifying criteria of autism, which means it's worth a shot. Oh, I'm puking tonight. Multiple times throughout the show, when people see Judah around them, they make jokes about Judah's appearance and demeanor. Each time, Judah takes the joke literally and doesn't seem to understand that the joke is at his expense.
Don't make me laugh. Ha-ho! Or whatever a laugh sounds like.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in that same boat and had to be told afterwards that I was being made fun of, although I do really like that no one breaks it to Judah and just lets him be. Either way, worth a shot. I don't think it could be any clearer than that, my dudes. Like, seriously, that's hitting us on the head with Judah being autistic. They knew what they were doing, and they did it, which means another shot. Oh! So, final consensus. I'm 7 shots in. I'm sharking trash right now. I don't know how it could be any clearer that Judah Mannodawg is on the autism spectrum. But, is good representation. Abso-sharkin-lutely. Judah is kind, cares about his friends, and genuinely appreciates people without trying to change them, even if he thinks that they're acting illogically. In fact, he just tries to help them do whatever it is they're trying to do in the safest and most effective way possible. He also gets a beautiful love story, which... Hold on. My senses are tingling. Almost as if somebody's trying to talk about a character, an autistic character, in media, without me. Oh, hell no.